Welcome to any new families or students that are coming to ASM. We just wanted to go through a little bit about the class registration and the process that you take in order to get the information in so we can get your schedule built properly. My name is Donald Caldwell. I'm the upper school vice principal, and I will be helping with this process. So the requirements. So the core classes. I think it's good to know that most of the core classes are set from grades 6 to 8: English, humanities, science, math, PE, digital age learning. In grade 6, we also have elements of the arts, which is only for grade 6 level. And everyone has advisory, which actually doesn't count as classes, but everyone has that class. And we meet once a week for that class. Some of the requirements along the way. So one of the decisions to be made is whether or not to pursue the Terza Media project. If you are to pursue that project, the pathway is that in Italian, A would be spent over 3 years from grades 6, 7, and 8. And you would also choose another language, either French or Spanish, to do during those 3 years as well for 6, 7, and 8. So that means in grade 6, you would only have two options to choose. Both of those would be world languages. And that would be the end of your choosing of courses for those levels. In grades 7 and 8, you have more courses than that, so you would get at least one more credit of choices if you were to choose that. Now, if you do not aim to choose towards the Terza Media project, you have the option of either choosing one or two world languages. For Italian locals and speakers, we do suggest that you go in the area of choosing Italian if possible. So, at the end of it, you're looking for 8 total electives. So depending on what you choose in terms of the Terza Media and the world language front, that will decide how many electives you will be taking. All right, just to go back to this a little bit. Italian A is required for 3 years in the Terza Media project. French or Spanish is also required for those 3 years. And in grade 8 only, you would take a class called the Terza Media Prep class, which prepares you for taking that class at the end of that year. Okay, so to register for some courses, you do need a teacher recommendation. So when that comes up, that could be either a language or a math or any kind of nature of classes that happen that we do require some specific classes for. Like I mentioned, the first one would be language B. We do require a teacher recommendation for that class or some form of knowing that you have taken that class. So we would want to know that you have taken that class before. You either have some requirements or reports that you've actually taken it at some level, or a teacher recommendation would both work. So here you could select a Spanish B beginner class before you needed any extra level of support in terms of that language, because that is a beginner class. So you do not need a recommendation to take a beginner class, only a higher level of classes. If you were to ask to take an intermediate class, you would need some form of recommendation before that happens. Classes, a lot of our classes do have prerequisites. So, in terms of an accelerated math class, this would look for a teacher recommendation, and it's kind of a minimum grade level to be ordered to qualify for that class. That class just is a kind of a push in terms of the math, and is only available in grades 7 and grade 8. They are not available yet in grade 6. For the math skills class, this is an area that we feel like a student could use a little extra help with some of those math skills. This could also come from a teacher recommendation if the need is felt also on that level. Advanced level electives. So some of these could be like a band class or a theater class or different levels of those types of electives. We just want some kind of like prior navigation that you've taken that class before, just so we know that and we know that you're prepared for taking this type of class. So you can see here certain classes do have a prerequisite on it. So that, for example, for a mixed media art class, you would have had to take a visual arts class at level 1 before taking that class. So when you do come into an older grade level, there may be some reaching out that is required in terms of letting us know that you've reached that level already or not. But there are other options if you have not. So there are lots of electives that would be available. The registration process form. So when you do register, you'll be sent one of these course registration forms that walk you through the different steps. This one specifically is for grade 7, but there are different ones for each grade level. At the very top, it tells you which courses are automatically registered by everyone. So the English, humanities, science, math, PE, digital age learning, and the advisory. So we know that equals to 5. But as you go through the process, you're going to start to build up the electives with the idea that we get to 8 at the end. So the first question, like I already mentioned, was the idea about world languages. Would you want to take 1 or 2? Are you going to, pursue that tourism media project? And then depending on how many language electives you take or world languages you take, you would either need to take, one group of electives and 2. So by that I mean, if you were to take 2 world languages in grade 7, that means there would be 1 credit left of electives to take. So you would select 2 different courses or 1 total credit in first choice and 2 different courses or 1 overall credit in second choice. And the reason for that is that for some reason with scheduling, if we weren't able to get you your first choice, we would look and do our best to get you into that second choice. So the idea of putting the doubles in there to add up to 8 are to help us to make sure that we at least try to meet anything that you really want in terms of your choices of courses. So that's what the first choice and the second choice are for on this form. Now, moving forward, if you have any questions or concerns about this process or courses or any development of it, and just any ideas that you might have, please send myself an email. And if it's not me that can answer it, I will certainly put you in touch with somebody that can. But looking forward, we really do want you to make good choices that meet the requirements that you're looking for and the ideas that you have. I really request that you just reach out to me via email and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Again, thank you much for joining ASM, and we look forward to having you here on campus with us.